I made a song about a bidet, and this is what it sounds like.
And the bidet comes standard?
Uh, yes, you'll find a bidet in all our executive suite.
And there's no additional charge for using the bidet.
God, what's that smell? This flow so stank, I'ma need a new bidet. Brown boys, we so dirty, yet we always clean the plate. Is it safe walking all this talent in one place? This flow so stank, I'ma need a new bidet. Day, day, day. Need a new bidet. Way I'm coughing on this beat, you might think I got COVID. Tested negative, yeah, sicker. If we beefing, I need patties. Better recognize a glutton, not too ashamed to be a fatty. My own knees are reasons why I walk like I got leashes. Call that crippin' if you.
All right, you get the point. I'm going to show you how I made the beat and how I mixed the whole project. All right, jump to the future. You'll see I'm in different clothes. This is how we made the track, or how I made the track. I'm going to first show you how everything is configured, and then we're going to break it down. So let's first look at my console view. This is actually pretty cool in Cubase. You have different ways to look at your tracks in your console view. First, you can have them at any width that you want. So I can go as far down as I can get it pretty much that skinny where you're looking at just faders, or I can thicken it up where my tracks are thicker like this, and I can see different configurations of what I'm looking at. So right now I'm looking at all my tracks, or I can just do just the instruments. So now I'm looking at just the instruments, and if I narrow the tracks a little bit, I fit them all in one screen. So those are all the instruments plus the stereo out. I like to always have that visible. And I can look at just the vocals. So this shows me all my vocals. I like everything color coordinated. And these are all my sends and effects. I can have them stapled to the right here. You see here, I clicked 3 on my shortcut. But anyway, this is just showing me all my tracks. And then you see the little 3 dots here. I can decide where I want that to stick. So all my effects, which are under this folder here, I have them all pinned to the right, and then that stereo channel I have pinned to the left. As you see, that stereo channel, that black channel over there to the left, does not move. All right, so that is what my console view looks like. And let me go ahead and show you my session view here, where you can see all of my tracks out, clips and all that. So as far as this goes, routing, I have I think I just, all right, so I have all my tracks first, as you see, all my instruments. So these are all my instrument tracks. There's not many here, 21. And then all my groups are colored this like yellowish color. So I got an instrument group, which is all the instruments go to that. I got a kick group, which all the kicks are the kick, clap, snare goes to that. Maybe this snare as well. Yep, that also goes to the kick group. That up there. And then I have a low end group, which is for my low end, like my 808s and bass. And then these are my effects, sounds, little sound candy or ear candy type things. I have my FX channel separating my instrument folder from my vocal folder. That doesn't always sit there. A lot of the times it sits at the bottom of my tracks, but in this session it's like that. Then I have my vocal folder with all my vocals. Again, I have a vocal group where all the vocals are routed to that. I have a layer group, which these 2 layers are routed to that layer group. And then I have a dub group, which it seems like maybe only this dub is in that group, but nonetheless there's a group for it. Then I have a group for these 2 tracks down here. And the group track is separating, kind of shows you what falls in that place. All right, so let's go ahead and start breaking it down. Instruments first, and then I have a monitoring track, which actually does have some audio content on it. But this is the track that I initially monitored on to hear myself into my earphones. I just never relabeled that, but that's supposed to go in my vocal folder at this point and sit there at the bottom. Yeah. All right, so let's go into the instruments folder and see what we have as far as the audio goes. Obviously, we have that sample here to begin with.
And the bidet comes standard.
That's the audio information from the SNL skit. I chopped it up a little bit to, well, not chopped it, I just narrowed it down so that it didn't take as long to play through. And then you hear the beat start as that's going. So let's go ahead and solo these.
And the bidet comes standard.
So that melody starts, and then eventually you get this clap in there as well.
And the bidet comes standard.
Yes, you'll find a bidet in all our executive suite.
And there's no
Right, and then your beat starts. Cool. So let's also see what we have as far as the melody goes. The melody's pretty simple. It's literally just one sound. I realized making this song that you don't need to have crazy melodies. I'm always trying to do like these crazy chord progressions and so forth, but especially for a lot of hip hop music crap, you don't need too much going on. So this is literally one melody in this whole song, and it sounds like this. So I'm going to solo this. And if you want to, you can kind of like pause here and look at what's going on as far as the notes there, if that matters to you for any reason. And then I have it changing octave. So I believe, is it a different octave here? Yeah. So it just goes up an octave. That's the melody. Simple as that. As far as plugins go, there's pretty much nothing there except for an EQ rolling off lows and highs. And I don't even, am I sending it somewhere? I'm sending it to the instrument group. On the instrument group, there's just an EQ that's side chaining to the vocals so that when the vocals come in, the vocals can come on top of the beat. I'll show you that when we get to that point. There's also another EQ here. Pretty much doing, you know, cut and space for that vocal. All right, so that's that. And then we got the drums. So I'm going to solo just the kicks here. Beat starts. All right, so let's go ahead and look at these kicks one by one. This, what's going on here? So we just got a simple kick. It's not layered, just this by itself. And then it repeats. That's the kick pattern as you see there. You can kind of figure that out. It's not a one on the floor, obviously, but yeah. Then I have that layered as well with the 808. So here's my 808. Right, and with the kick. And then I also have another little bass pluck that's kind of accentuating that every other 4 bars. And that sounds like this by itself. See if I can do it this way. I've never used this. Yeah, oh wait, let me solo it. Pretty much following the 808, except for the 808 has these two pieces of MIDI right there, whereas this doesn't. I just didn't like the way it sounded. This is what it would sound like if it did have that. Solo just these two by themselves. I didn't like that there. So as you see, this is it without that there. So that's the kick, and that's what's layered with the kick. And then obviously you have the snare. The snare is layered with a clap, and that sounds like this. Right? And that's just every 3 on the 3 and the 7. So you got your 1, snare, kick, 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 whatever, snare. That's what's going on there at the 3 and the 7. And I can show you what's going on with the effects on this clap and snare. On the clap, literally nothing, just how it was. Very simple. Like this is bare bones beat. I didn't go too crazy on the editing or anything like that. The snare, I did roll off some of the low and high, just a shelf, kind of cutting down into there. And the snare by itself sounds like this. Just giving me some low end information. I have a reverb on it. This reverb, tall reverb 4, I like to use if I ever want to just take a sound and tuck it a little bit more into the beat. So that's what this is doing. Just adding a little bit of wetness. What I'll do is I'll take some of that dry wave if I want to accentuate that effect there. So again, then with the clap. And these are getting sent to the kick group. The kick group just has a clipper on it. And as far as this kick, sorry, I forgot to mention, it has a decapitator and L2 for some limiting by waves. Man, my plugins are taking forever to load today. All right, so let me just show you this kick before and after those plugins. So inserts off. And then with the decapitator and limiter. So slight difference, but that's what's going on there. All right, so that's our kick, our kicks, and then there's not your traditional hi-hat, but we do have a shaker.
Charge.
If you can hear that, that's just coming in. It's actually centered too. Usually I would pan that, but it's centered, and something happens here. Oh yeah, and then there's like a Pong type of thing there. Very reverbed out cowbell, if you may. And this is Groove Agent, which is my drum player, and that's that sound there. Has some reverb on it, and then the shaker has a little bit of reverb and vintage compressor. All right, so that's what's going on there. That's pretty much the drums. Yeah, I think we went all through it. So very simple as far as instrumentation goes. We have some effects going on here. We got a little sample here. You can barely hear that. Let me see if I can turn that up. My dog liked the sound of that, I guess. That's what's going on, and I'll show you. It just has Space Blender Sound Toys Reverb plugin. This is actually new. I got it free. I have a video on that if you're curious. But again, just basically amps up the reverb towards the end there. And I forgot to go over what's going on with the 808 here. 808, we have a little bit of a low shelf, taking out some highs. This isn't really doing that. 3 note isn't doing anything, obviously, because it's rolled off. But and then for this bass pluck, you have no EQ going on, but we do have a tube compressor and a 76 bluey setting, compressing that. Let's see what this is.
Hey, Brown.
Let's solo that. That's a barking sound effect, or man's voice. We got a vocal doubler on that, doing 100%, 100 separation, a little bit of variation. And is it effect only? Yeah, it's effect only. Then we got black valve for some saturation and compression, and then a little more compression. We got UAD 2A. So that's that sound. And then we got this sound here, which is a fun, I'm going to turn that up so you can hear it. Oh wait, did I turn that up or did I turn? Hold up. That back, turn. Ah. Okay, turn this up. That's what that sounds like. It is a plugin from Cubase. I got off their website. It doesn't come stock. I mean, it is free. You just got to go to Cubase and get it. So that's that. Alt 7 will take that pan back to where, that volume back to where it was. And that is all that's going on there. So that's the beat. And I'll just play this little first section for you, just the beat alone.
Charge for using the bidet.
Yeah, and then I forgot. Let's also go what's going on with this low end group. So do so the low end group, I have that basically routed to my kick. As you see here, there's a compressor on the low end group. There's a side chain here, side chain routing. The kick group is in that side chain, and every time the kick engages, the low end group compresses so that the 808 and the bass pluck that's on the low end group doesn't overwash the kick. Looks like this.
Charge for using the bidet.
As you see, every time that kick engages, that those bass information goes down. Given space for the kick. All right, that's that. Now let's go ahead and go to our vocals. Oh wait, I forgot one more thing. The instrument group, like I said, I'm sidechaining the vocals. So what I did is on the instrument group, added a dynamic EQ, went again to my sidechain settings there. This is a Cubase feature, not the plugin allows sidechaining, but that top bar you're seeing this is Cubase. You won't see that if you're using another DAW. However, your DAW does sidechaining. So I have this EQ getting sent to my vocals. So you see my vocals are right here. Add sidechain source, vocals. I just did that, added in the vocals. And then I took out some here, a little above 4K, and then some in this little bass frequency, a little above 250. And that's where I want my the beat to kind of compress a little bit so that my vocal can come up. And so if we go here, you'll see that you have to pull that range down. EXT, external. This is very important for your side chain source if you want it to work properly. Threshold, and as you see, as we play it,
charge for using the bidet.
Once the vocals come in,
This flow so stank, I'ma need a new.
so you see the EQ is not doing anything when it's just the beat, but as soon as the vocals come in, you start to see some information.
What's that smell? This flow so stank, I'ma need a new bidet. Brown boys, we so dirty, yet we always clean the plate. Is it safe walking?
And that way my vocal can kind of pop out of that beat some. If we go to one of the nodes that don't have the side chain engaged, that doesn't happen.
What's that smell? This flow so stank.
So you see, that's just the beat. So if I solo the instruments, whereas this one, because it's side chained, nothing's happening. That's because it is side chained to the vocal on just those nodes, 5 and 3. All right, so that's what's going on the instrument group, side chaining so that the vocals are legible. Now, oh, and I forgot one more thing. One of these perks have this one right here. So you see this snare it has a EQ. I mean, it's getting sent to, if I show my Q sends, or wait, how do I see this? Instruments. Thought I was able to see it from here, but it's not looking like it. Anyway, so you see over here, it's getting sent to this perk send. If I go here, you'll see I have a perk verb, and this has a little bit of delay. We have sorry that these plugins are taking so long. We have an 1/8 note delay, a little bit of feedback in Valhalla, doing a little bit of decay, 100% wet. There's a cut, size is cut. There's a high end cut, and then our size is at 80%, and that's given that snare some reverb. So again, that's our instruments. Now let's finally get into our vocals. So I'm just going to start linear, from front to back. So the first thing we see here is the echo track, and that's the sample, the lady in the skit saying bidet.
Bidet.
And there's a delay on that. I have it sent to a vocal verb and a long verb. I'll go ahead and show you that in a second. But this is the EQ, the vocal chain that I have for her. Honestly, I don't know why there's so much stuff on here. I might have just duplicated my own track and then just put her on it. But there's a doubler on here, as you can see there. There's a delay that's full wet, and saturation compression, black valve, Cubase stock plugin, and then this towel reverb that I use to push back into the beat, create some depth. So that's what's going on there. Now let's go to the main vocal, and here I'll show you the sends to the verb as well, and I'll also show you that long verb to see what that's doing for this here. So here, this is my vocal chain, not too complicated. I have it first coming into this channel strip where there's a noise gate so that anything that's recording to the microphone that I don't want to be there, like AC, fan from the computer, all that isn't caught. And then we have an EQ. This is a look at our EQ, rolling off lows till about 150. But most of it's getting cut here at that 50 to 100. Then a little dip at 160. And then we're going straight, and then that's it. There's no high shelf, no other cuts. I want to be minimal with that first EQ, just kind of get problem areas so that I can compress as clean a vocal as possible. And then I want to go in and start colorizing, if I refer to it that way, the vocal from then on out. So we got EQ, then we're going into this Vox comp, and very, very simple, basic compressor, and it's doing basic compressor stuff. There's like barely any knobs on here, but it does what it needs to do. If I turn these other plugins off and solo this main vocal, sounds like this as of now.
The new bidet, brown boys, we so dirty, yet we always.
So that's pretty much all that's going on there. Let me loop this too. We can just listen to that. All right, cool. Bring back up my effect chain. All right, here we have our de-esser. This is as well doing simple de-essing. 4300. I got this from Help Me Devon, who apparently got this from I might say his name wrong, Leslie Brownlee, engineer for like Lil Uzi Vert and others. But that's apparently like a important frequency range for de-essing. So 4300. I have the side chain on this instead of like the shelf. I don't want to compress 43 all the way up to 10K, just that one little section, and then I have it split instead of wide. Narrow just for those S's. With the de-esser sounds like this. Man, okay, I think let me turn off
This flows.
I have software running in the background. Let me turn this off so that you don't get it's the video Inception. All right. It's the video that I'm editing for this video. Let me close DaVinci Resolve because I think it's slowing me down. All right, let's try that again.
This flow so stank.
So with the de-esser, and I'm gonna let you hear what this de-esser is catching. Now it seems to be working faster. So I don't know if at all you can hear that, but that's what it's catching. So EQ, compressor, de-esser, which is basically another compressor just for a certain frequency range. And then I have that going into heat wave. And a lot of times what, tutorialists are, whoever, us guys on YouTube, giving you guys tutorials and breaking down sessions and stuff. I'm not at all saying I'm a professional engineer. I do engineer not only for myself, but for others. I have helped with engineering other albums that are on Spotify. I've been engineering for about 7 or 8 years. So, I do this as a hobby, as a passion. But as of yet, I don't get paid for it. So take that as you may. And when you're listening to the song, though the song is about a bidet and obviously stupid, there might be some things you guys are able to pick up. So with that being said, like, comment, subscribe. It helps a lot. Let's get this channel to 250 subscribers. within the next, by December will be nice. So again, got compressors, and now we're going into some saturation. And this is pretty much like the process I like to go through. This is pretty typical to me. EQ, compress, DS, saturation is usually what I do next. I'm tightening up that vocal, cleaning that vocal up with that first EQ, and then tightening it up with the compression. And then I want to add color. So either through another EQ where we start to add shelves, adding in some high end, or adding in some mid-range or whatever. Another way to do that is to add some saturation. So I have Heatwave Isotope plugin. Believe I got it for free. Many saturators you can use. You can use tape saturator or whatever, but I'm using this. Not going too hard. 7 on the drive. This is what it sounded like before. Oops, wrong button. Bypass.
This flow so stank, I'ma need a new.
And then after.
This flow so stank, I'ma need a new.
So again, it's barely doing anything, but if you have the ear for it, it's adding some warmth, some saturation. And as well, also to mention, you'll be able to hear a lot more if you're listening with headphones or monitors, or if you're in your car. All right, so from that, I have another EQ, and this is an Isotope Ozone EQ. Just whatever I felt at the moment, when this is what I felt at that moment.
This flow so stank, I'ma need a new bidet. Brown.
And it's to me, it's adding some clarity. You might wonder, how is it adding clarity, even though I have some highs, a shelf on the highs there. Well, that's just what it is. If I bypass this, bypass, sounds like this.
This flow so stank, I'ma need a new bidet. Brown.
Yeah, I don't like that.
This flow so stank.
Sounds a lot better. And before the EQ?
This flow so stank, I'ma need a new bidet. Brown boys,
So I'm realizing after I took out some of that low end to create some more space, more of those highs popped out. So then I controlled that with the shelf there. So then after that, we are going into another compressor. This is my CLA 76 by Waves, Waves CLA 76. And moderate attack, the further you go, the higher the number here. So 7, the faster the attack, which is kind of opposite from other compressors. I have a ratio of 8. Hip hop vocal, I want to hit it hard. So that ratio is at 8. Moderate release. Sounds like with the compressor, before and after.
This flow so stank, I'ma need a new bidet. Brown boys, we so dirty, yet we always clean the plate.
As you see, it gained some volume there, some compression. Then I have Curve, which is like Soothe, but cheaper, by Waves. Recently new plugin within the last 6 months or so. Again, another genius plugin. This is what that is doing. It's just going in there, taking out problem frequencies. This is what it sounds like before and after.
This flow so stank, I'ma need a new bidet. Brown boys, we so dirty, yet we always clean the plate.
So as you see, taking out some artifacts there. Then I have another compressor. This is a 2A this time. Sounds like this.
This flow so stank, I'ma need a new bidet. Brown boys, we so dirty, yet we all clean the plate. Is it safe walking?
Right, so very moderate there. This is catching it just like the tips of that vocal. And then I'm reintroducing some high end with Fresh Air.
This flow so stank, I'ma need a new bidet. Brown boys, we so dirty, yet we always clean the plate.
All right, and let's listen to that with the beat.
This flow so stank, I'ma need a new bidet. Brown boys, we so dirty, yet we always clean the plate.
All right, and then I'm gonna show you a trick that I don't always do, but it can help kind of push that vocal out of that beat a little more. And again, good for a hip hop vocal like this. I have 2 dubs that are, and I'm gonna solo these, that are underneath that main vocal.
This flow so stank, I'ma need a new bidet. Brown.
And that's adding some wideness and some more character to that vocal. But also I'm doing something else as well. I have this main vocal sent to a parallel compressor, which I'll show you here. These are my sends here, my effects. Excuse me. And I have it sent to a parallel compressor. On the parallel compressor, we are rolling off some lows, some highs, a little boost here at 3K. And then I'm running it into vinyl to give it this 1960 effect using no dust because I don't need all that crackle. And then we got some 10% aware, a little bit of warp. I can listen to what this effects is doing just by itself. So and then after vinyl, I'll have a compressor just to bring the volume up. So let's turn off these as of now, the plugins after that compressor, so you can hear what this is doing. And I'm gonna turn it up. Let me just make sure. Okay, it's about, I don't lose its place.
This flow so stank, I'ma need a new bidet. Brown.
Right, so that's what it sounds like. Filtered with EQ, vinyl, compressor, and then I have this OCS, which is a tape saturator type of situation, cassette simulator. Sounds like this now.
This flow so stank, I'ma need a new bidet.
Right, and then I have this EQ, which is introducing some 3K high-end shelf there.
This flow so stank, I'ma need a new bidet.
Sounds like that, and then a de-esser to catch those S's that were introduced since we added that shelf.
This flow so stank, I'ma need a new bidet.
And I'm compressing a shelf, everything after 5K, ideally there. And then just mix to taste, and it sounds like this under the main vocal.
This flow so stank, I'ma need a new bidet. Brown boys, we so dirty.
Let me just make sure that's where it was. Yeah, it was about right there.
This flow so stank, I'ma need a new bidet. Brown boys, we so dirty.
And then for our reverb for that vocal, I'm rolling off lows, rolling off a lot of highs. I want a darker reverb. Got a compressor, just stock compressor from Cubase. Compressing that vocal before we go into the reverb. Kind of kills the dynamics a little bit. But again, for this, that's what I wanted. I have a preset of a drum plate, which is just a plate reverb. For that, don't let the drum confuse you. Again, rolling off lows and highs in the actual compressor, size at 80, a little bit of pre-delay. And then we have vinyl. Again, for my vocal verb, I wanted some character. This time I do have some dust on that reverb. And then black valve. Adding this is like a compressor that also adds some character color through saturation. There's no set rule. You know, I'm dropping some gems every now and then. There's no set rule when it comes to your project. You do what you think sounds good. Vinyl might seem odd on a reverb, but not for me. Let's listen to what this reverb sounds like by itself. Then I'm gonna make sure I get that right back at where it was when we fade it in.
This flow so stank, I'ma need a new bidet. Brown boys,
So that's a very, very dark reverb. And then let's mix it to taste.
This flow so stank, I'ma need a new bidet. Brown boys, we so dirty, yeah we.
And the meter's blocking. Yep, I think that was where
This flow so stank, I'ma need a new bidet. Brown boys, we so dirty, yeah we always clean the plate. Is it safe walking?
And then I said I'll show you what this long verb is doing. I don't know what's using this long verb. It seems like the intro, this echo. But anyway, so this is what the long verb is doing. And this echo track is, like I said, that that girl saying bidet. I'm gonna rename this bidet sample. That girl. I'm sorry, I don't know her name. But from the SL skit. Long verb, rolling off lows and highs again. Pretty much do that with every send, as you can see, except for the perk and the 8th note delay. All right, so we're rolling off. We have a compressor going into the EQ. EQ is echo verb. I don't know if I changed anything as far as that preset goes. And then we have it going into a saturator. And then we have it going into a compressor. That sounds like this.
This flow so stank, I'ma need a new bidet. Brown boys, we so dirty, yeah we always.
So apparently it is going to that verb. Maybe I have it on the vocal bus. Yeah, wait. Yeah, I don't know where that long verb is, what it's doing. But anyway. So, or what's going to that long verb. So that's our main vocal. Again, our dubs right under that main vocal. They have the same plugins. I could have sent that to a group. Don't know why I didn't. We have some auto tune on here slightly. Songs in C major, or it's actually an A minor. rolling off a little bit of lows before all that, going into a compressor, R comp instead of R Vox. I guess I just wanted some difference that using the same plugin. L tube, that's what we're using for saturation. And you can kind of see my same formula going here. Got EQ, obviously this one has auto tune, but we got EQ, then we're going into a compressor, no de-esser, but we got that saturation. So EQ, compression, saturation. I usually do that with all my vocal chains. And then we have it going into a pretty much a dynamic EQ. This is triple D. I feel like this is a really good plugin that doesn't get spoken about much. But this plugin, we're taking, it attacks 3 bands, your boxy, your harshness, and your de-esser area. And we have it hitting all those bands at its different level.
This flow so stank, I'ma need a new bidet. Brown boys, we so dirty, yeah.
So you can see just every now and then it's doing a little bit of work. And then we have it going into another compressor to compress everything.
This flow so stank, I'ma need a new bidet. Brown boys, we so.
It's hitting it a little hard. As you can see, it's clipping the compressor, but I don't care. Then we have it going into EQ. We're taking off some 5K there. That's all we're doing on that EQ. And then another compressor. This is the UAD2A. Very compressed song. And then we have it going into an EQ, cutting out some above 400 and 500 and 4K. Then we have a vocal doubler, accentuating that stereo filled effect. That's what's going on there. All right, that's the main vocal and what's layered under the main vocal. And that doesn't come in all the time. This is the chorus. So we have that wider section there for the chorus. And then some like ad lib sections like right here. But for the main vocal, we don't have anything under it other than that parallel compressor.
Way I'm coughing on this beat, you might think I got COVID. Tested negative, yes, sicker. If we beef it.
So you see I got like that yet sicker there. That's where I'm bringing in this dub.
Yes, sicker.
Right. And we have it again right here.
Walk like I got lesions. No.
That's just adding some, difference in the verse. Some ear candy, just things to pop out at you. That's what this sounds like. Running into that little dub section here.
My own knees are reasons why I walk like I got lesions. Call that crippin' if you need to know. Know that I'm just teasing. I've been piecing together allegiance of another legion of fans.
And when it comes to music that I make, I kind of do that in all my songs again. I have the main vocal. I'll repeat some parts of the main vocal and then spread it left and right just to add width and some change every now and then. And then obviously your ad libs. So I have some ad libs here. My ad lib tracks down here. And for my ad libs, I'm just doing some stuff like this.
Gross.
And with the vocal, it sounds like this.
Coughing on this beat, you might think I got COVID. Tested negative, yes, sicker. If we beefing up.
All right, so how did I mix that? We have it sent to the same vocal verb that the main verse is on, and then we have it sent to a quarter delay. Quarter delay rolling off lows, highs. Got a compressor. Compressing pretty fast, obviously, for a delay. I want it to kind of come in quick for that compressor. Low release, and the ratio is on all. We're getting all of that as much as we can get. For the delay, as labeled, it's a quarter note delay to the BPM. Feedback's about there. We're rolling off lows and highs again within the plugin. Full wet, no analog. And we got CLA effects on this delay to add some reverb. That's all it's doing there. And then again, another compressor. And then it's just mixed to taste. So quarter note delay, self-explanatory, but it sounds like this.
On this beat, you might think I got COVID.
Kind of can't hear it too much as it's lower there. Let's turn that up.
On this beat, you might think I got COVID.
Right. Alt Z will bring that fader back down. And then it's going right 73%. I like my delays sometimes to be out of the way of the main vocal. So that's why I have the send going to the right. Sometimes within a delay plugin, depending on the delay plugin, you can send it to one of the stereo sides, like left or right, within the plugin. Can't do that with H delay, so I just did it with the actual fader, or pan fade. No, why do I keep saying fade? The pan, whatever. I'm sending it right. But as far as the vocal chain, it's just pretty much following the same format from our main vocal. I just copied the settings from the main vocal. So as you see, everything up to fresh air. Although after that, I did add this EQ, and then this tall reverb to push it back a little bit, give it some depth. So I'm taking away some of that dry, so it's less present. And then black valve for that compression, saturation, color compression type deal. I use black valve a lot. I got this from another YouTuber, but black valve is supposed to emulate another popular compressor. If I can figure out the name of that compressor, I'll put it up on the screen. Show you a picture of it. That's what's going on with that ad lib. There's another ad lib here. I'm kind of doing the same thing.
Not too shame.
I think maybe just the volume's lower. Yeah, volume's lower and it's panned more. These ad libs are panned 50 to the left. The ad libs above it, which is just for the chorus, are panned 50 to the right, and they're both down about -8 dB. This section alone sounds like this. That's for that B portion of the chorus. And let's see, what am I doing? Turn that listen off. Right, and then we have these layers for the chorus as well, going to this layer. And also we got this dub group. On the full group for those dubs, we have a tube compressor, 50% character, fast attack, moderate release, full mix, drive, input. Let's go somewhere where that is happening there.
This flow so stank, I'ma need a new bidet. Brown boys, we so dirty, yet we always clean the plate.
So it's barely touching that needle.
This flow so stank, I'ma need a new bidet. Brown boys, we so dirty, yet we.
That's what's happening there. And then we have Alter Boy, giving it a -1.5 saturation to make it a little deeper. This is what it sounds like without Alter Boy turned on.
This flow so stank.
Let me just solo this dub group.
This flow so stank, I'ma need a new bidet. Brown.
And then with Alter Boy,
This flow so stank, I'ma need a new bidet.
adds a different pitch just to add a little bit of harmony to that main vocal there. I just realized, here, let's move these up. Yeah, that way all that's more organized. Cool. So that's what's going on there. So we covered the main vocal, the dubs, the ad libs, what's going on under. Oh, okay. So the chorus, we need to see what this little layer group is doing. This is what it sounds like before we do anything to it. I mean, after the plugins. All right. So again, vocal chain's about the same. RVox, de-esser, heatwave. So this is the same as the main vocal. And I realize now that this ad lib is the same as the dub, I believe. Yeah. So it's the same as the dub, just with some other stuff. So for this layer vocal, it's obviously panned. Well, it's not panned full left right. It's panned 30 to the right, 30 to the left. Vocal chain is the same as the main vocal, except for we took off fresh air. And is there any sends on here? Got a vocal verb, and then the parallel verb, or sorry, parallel compressor. And then for the group channel, group track, we just have some triple D doing some taking away some harshness. And yeah, so pretty much the same thing as the main vocal. But for the actual chorus, it's just adding that more, wider fill, harmony, more voices sound more like a group. And then over here, I have these tracks down here, which is adding to this little chant kind of vibe that's going on. This is what that sounds like.
Boys, brown.
So during that section of the song, it sounds like this.
Original things. Who we is, boys. What we is, brown. Yell, brown boys. Yell, brown boys. This.
All right, so for this, we have same effects as the dub tracks, same vocal chain, I mean, and we just have a group that's giving us some Ultra Boy. This time we're going 0.5 up to give it a higher pitch. We got a compressor and a reverb to push it back into the beat a little bit, push it back behind the main vocals. So you see the wet dry mix here. It's mostly dry than it is wet. None of these knobs are changed. We have some low cut and some pre-delay within there. And yeah, and this is gonna, these have no sends on them, but the group is sent to the vocal verb. And then this monitoring track has some audio on there. Sounds like this.
Boys, brown.
So that's adding some other harmony of voice information. This is just turned down on the fader. We got vintage compressor, which is a fast compressor. Fast compressor like the CLA 76, I'd compare it to. Bluey setting, maybe I'll compare it to that. And then tube for some saturation, little tube, RVox, and then heat wave for some more saturation. And it sounds like, yeah, so before that we got the EQ rolling off a little bit of highs and some lows. And that is that. So that's the song altogether. I believe that is everything. Did we go over? Oh, okay, there's these ad-libs right here, sorry. These ad-libs are saying,
Need a new bidet.
Bidet.
Need a new bidet.
that's coming in, accentuating that needing a new bidet portion of the end of the chorus. And here we have the same vocal chain as the dub vocal chain. It'd be the same as this dub here, I believe. Yeah. Except for this one, I think has fresh air, where that one doesn't. Yeah, this one has fresh air. And I was going to send to the vocal verb, and then it's just pan 30 to the right, 30 to the left. Yeah. So that is the whole song. Pretty simple, pretty easy to do. As you saw, the instrumentation was easy and simple, as well as the mix for everything. Oh, there's also another thing that I did, some ear candy stuff that happens here in the chorus. So listen here.
Hey, is it safe walking all this talent in one place? This flow so
All right, so I'll show you how I did that. So if you can hear that here,
walking all this
me solo that.
talent.
So turn that up. Sounds like this. Actually, let's go. So what that is that's reverb reversed. So I'll show you how I did that. Where's that? Here? Wait, where are we at? Where's the main vocal?
All this talent and
Yeah, so what I did is I took, here, let's duplicate this track.
all this
All right, so I took this, bring it down. Pretty much add a long reverb on it. Let's go verb, Valhalla. Oop, bring that Valhalla. Okay, Valhalla solo.
all this
So you see, it has that long reverb tail. I'm gonna add a new track, audio, verb, recording. All right, cool. So I'm gonna make the in for this reverb, the out for this. So in, I'm gonna go to vocals. Where's that vocal group? And then I'm gonna record, enable this, and then it should sound like this.
all this
So you see, I recorded that whole reverb, and then I'm just gonna shorten it. reverse it, control right click in Cubase, process, reverse, and now it sounds like this. Well, obviously not as good as this one does, but that's how I did that. So that is how that happens. So let me delete this, get back to where. All right, and so that's how the reverse reverb trick happened, and then obviously I just faded it to taste. About like -6, I think.
Is it safe walking? All this
I said faded. I meant turn the volume down. And then also I forgot there is some automation happening here that's sending it left to right. So it's left 69 or left 70, and it goes towards the right to kind of come into the center of your earphones or the speakers. And then I have a stutter effect. This one's pretty easy. I just, as you can see, it's still cut. I cut the first section of this vocal.
this flow so
So the TH in this, and then I just pasted it 3 times here. Turning that up. Sounds like that. Have it panned slightly to the left. And I just have, let's see what's on here as far as effects. Vocal chain from the main vocal chain, except we have on here added tall reverb, taking away some of that dry to create depth. Same tricks. And then a ping pong delay to add stereo feel. Or, yeah, ping pong delay, sorry. Quarter note ping pong delay. At a very low mix. Let's see. Yeah, it's at about a 20%. Oh, there it is. 16% mix. And that sounds like it does going into that part. Wait, let me unmute the solos.
hey, is it safe walking? All this talent in one place. This flow so stank. I'ma need a new bidet.
I forgot another. Oh, I forgot that this was even here. This is instrumentation, but it's like a bidet sound effect. It's like so quiet, but here, let me turn this up. Then this one. So a bidet and a splash. That's what's happening there. Down like about 30. Cool. And then this is that like deeper sound that's happening here.
This flow so stank. I'ma need a new bidet.
So what I did there was I just did a clip effect. So it's on the same track as the main vocal with the same main vocal vocal chain, except for you can hit F7 in Cubase and then add plugins to the actual clip that doesn't affect the rest of the track. So I have vocal bender and I have a preset, I believe here, like, or maybe I don't know, but I'm just turning down some pitch and some format. And then the same thing for this one, except for just less. I'm hitting it less. What happened? F7. This one's actually vocal bender instead of, or sorry, little altar boy instead of vocal bender. -3.5 on the format. Together, as you heard, sounds like this.
This flow so stank. I'ma need a new bidet.
All right. So that is the song I made about a bidet. I didn't show you what's happening with this 8th note delay, but something's going to that. This is Manny M. I bought this plug-in pack, Manny Mariquin. 8th note delay, as you can see, and it has some reverb on the delay, lows and highs rolled off. That's what's going on there, and then I'm just compressing it. I believe I showed you everything in the whole session. That is how I made a song about a bidet. Thanks for watching, guys. This has been Opon Studios. Like, subscribe, comment, do all that stuff. Let's listen to the song on the way out.
This flow so stank. I'ma need a new bidet. Brown boys, we so dirty, yet we always clean the plate. Is it safe walking? All this talent in one place. This flow so stank. I'ma need a new bidet.